everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to talk about how to find the slope of a linear graph based on 2 points that graph contains. Now let's get right into it. We're told that the point -5, -3 and 0, 7 are a part of this linear graph, and we're asked to find the slope. Now in order to do this, we're going to use this concept, this formula called change in y over change in x equals m. In other words, the change in y over the change in x equals the slope of that graph. Now you might be wondering what the change in y and what the change in x is, and that's what I'm going to teach you right now. So the change in y can also be represented as y2 minus y1, and the change in x can be represented as x2 minus x1. Now, in this case, our y2 is going to be 7 because it is our second y value of the two coordinate pairs we were given, and -3 and -3 is our y1. So in this case, a change in y would be 7 minus -3 over the change in x, and we're going to get to that right now. So x2 is going to be this 0 right here, since it is the second x value, and x1 is going to be this -5. So then change in x would be 0 minus -5. Now this change in y over change in x is right here, and now we would just solve. So 7 minus -3, this becomes a plus, so that will be 10 over 0 plus -5 also becomes a plus, so it will be 10 over 5, which simplifies down to 2. So the slope of this linear graph that contains the points -5, -3 and 0, 7 would be 2. Now let's do another example. Okay, so here we have another example. We're told that the point 12, 7 and -4, -5 are a part of a linear graph, and we're once again asked to find the slope. So remember that the slope is equal to change in y over change in x, and that it can also be represented as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So just keep that in mind as we go through this example. And now it is important to know that -5 doesn't have to be a y2. It can also be 7. It doesn't matter, but the clear way, the way most people understand, is that the second one provided is y2, so we're just going to go with that. So -5 would be y2, so -5 minus y1, which would be 7, over -4, which is x2, minus 12, which is x1. Now we're just going to simplify this, solve this, and -5 minus 7, which would be -12, over -4 minus 12, which would be -16. Now this would be the slope, but we can simplify this further, so let's just do it down here. We could divide both sides by 2, and then we get -6 over -8, which simplifies down to 3/4, since these negatives cancel out, and if we divided both sides by 2, we would get 3/4, which is the slope of this graph. So here we have another example. In this case, we're told that coordinate pair 3, -3 and -2, 7 are a part of a linear graph, and we're asked to find the slope. So once again, change in y over change in x. So 7 would be y2, negative 3 would be y1. So we would just do 7 minus negative 3, which would be a plus, and we would get 10 in the numerator. And now x2 would be negative 2 and x1 would be 3. So negative 2 minus 3 is equal to negative 5. So 10 over negative 5 would be your slope, which simplifies down to negative 2. Now, as I said before, the order in which you put these coordinates does not matter. So let's go ahead and do this example over here, where I actually flipped them. So before we were given 3 comma negative 3, and after that negative 2 comma 7, and this is how it was originally, and now I flipped them. So now y2 is going to become negative 3. So y2 becomes negative 3. Then y1 becomes 7. And so once again, change in y over change in x. So negative 3 minus 7 over x2, which is now 3, and x1, which is now negative 2. So x2 is 3 and x1 is negative 2. So we would do 3 minus negative 2. And on the numerator, we would get negative 10 because negative 3 plus a negative 7 is negative 10. And 3 minus negative 2, this will become 3 plus 2, and we get 5. And negative 10 over 5 simplifies down to 2. So in these two examples, we did it the other way around, I mean negative 2, sorry. And we got the same slope. Negative 2 equals negative 2. So you could actually use these interchangeably and it would still work. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video and subscribe if you enjoyed. And stay tuned for next week because I'm going to teach you how to find the equation of a linear graph using the slope and the coordinate point, or just two coordinate points. Goodbye.